It is a bad thing to have a society full of adults who believe in fairy tales. I can't even believe I have to tell you people this. It is obvious that it is a bad thing to have a society full of adults that believe in fairy tales. But apparently, it's not obvious to everybody, because every single day I get messages from people telling me, "Why are you an aggressive atheist? Why do you even care what people believe?" I care because it affects me. Duh fucking raw. I live in a society where 8 out of 10 people believe in fucking fairy tales, and it affects my life. Can you imagine what a society where 8 out of every 10 people believe in fairy tales like they're true would be like? It would be a society where we have trillions of dollars to spend on our war machine, yet we close down our children's school for lack of funding. It would be a society where we have millions and millions of empty houses, yet we won't let anybody live in them because they can't afford it, because they're not worthy of living in those houses. We hate our fellow human beings so much that we would rather these houses be empty than have people live in them that can't afford it. This is what a Christian nation brings you. How fucked up can you get? And these are only a few minor examples of the very, very long list of fucked up things this Christian society has brought us. So yeah, it affects me, and I decided I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to speak up. It is a bad thing for grown-ups to believe in fairy tales and use these fairy tales as the basis for all their life decisions. Duh! What the fuck is wrong with you people? And it's obvious what the root cause of the problem is. If you go ask any Christian if they're a Christian first or an American first, every one of them would tell you they're a Christian first. Christianity is the foundation that they base all their life decisions on. They're taught from childhood to believe in fairy tales as though fairy tales were reality. And once you program somebody's mind to believe in fairy tales as if they were reality, it is very easy to teach them new fairy tales and get them to believe in those fairy tales like their reality. You know, fairy tales like patriotism and consumerism and celebrity worship and politics. Christianity is like the gateway drug of fairy tales. Once they get you hooked on one fairy tale, they can convince you of all kinds of other fairy tale bullshit. And I've tried everything I can think of to reach Christians. I've tried to present the evidence and have reasoned, logical debate with them. But what I found out is you cannot have a reasonable, logical debate with somebody who did not use reason or logic to begin believing what they believe in to begin with. It's simply impossible. In fact, Christians are specifically taught that faith is something to be respected, that believing in things without evidence is a feature to be admired. They actually take pride in their ignorance. So there's no debating people like this. So instead, I've moved to the only method I found that works: mocking. Mocking is what actually worked with me. I was a Christian for more than 30 years, and I believed it wholeheartedly. I can very clearly remember thinking that nothing will ever make me stop being a Christian ever, no matter what it was, which really is the very definition of closed-mindedness. But I can remember thinking it. I thought I would die a Christian. But then people started mocking me for it. People started mocking me for being an adult who believed in fairy tales, and I did not like it. The truth will set you free, but first it'll piss you off. And I went out there and I tried to prove those motherfuckers that made fun of me wrong. I went out to research the evidence for myself to see what it was. I thought nothing would ever make me stop believing. But I was wrong. The more I went and researched it, the more I researched what the Bible actually says, and who wrote the Bible, and how the Bible was assembled, and the historicity of Jesus, and the obvious superiority of the scientific method. Eventually, I was crushed underneath the weight of the evidence. It's as simple as that. The evidence changed me. Education kills faith dead. It's like bug spray for Christianity. The more you know, the less you believe. So look, I don't want you Christians to believe a word I say. Not a word. I simply want to anger you enough to where you go out and try to prove me wrong. And if you go out and research it enough, eventually, just like every former Christian before you who has done this, you will eventually be crushed by the weight of the evidence. You will begin to understand that Christianity is just a cult full of adults who believe in silly, superstitious fairy tales like they were true. Don't take my word for it. Go look yourself, you lazy-minded fucktards. You don't have to be a gullible idiot any longer. You can be part of the solution instead of part of the problem. And that is why I'm an aggressive atheist, because I want to be part of the solution. I care enough about the society I live in to want to change it for the better. And I believe the best way to change the society for the better is to get grown-ass adults who believe in fairy tales to stop fucking believing in fairy tales. It's a very important first step in repairing our obviously damaged society. For the Cult of Dusty, I am the People's Atheist, Dusty Smith, reminding you that the opinions of fairy tale believing adults should not be respected. Respect must be earned. Otherwise, it's completely meaningless. Logic.
time to judge my soul.